that has the potential of civilizational destruction.
You know I'm in the technology world, right?
Right.
If you guys didn't know, like my career is computers, IT. It's crazy how now AI is taking over everything. Literally taking over everything. We grew up watching the Terminator. We're living the Terminator right now.
That's kind of messed
And it's
up,
just
though.
the beginning. Elon Musk, which when that guy talks, you better listen.
Right.
Elon Musk had an interview with Tucker Carlson, which he used to be on Fox. You've seen Tucker, right?
Yeah, he's related. Is he related to Chris Tucker?
Yes, that's his cousin.
From his brother's side.
Right. So this video we're gonna watch, he says Elon Musk tells Tucker potential dangers of hyper intelligent AI.
But I'm also a little bit confused because isn't Elon Musk? I mean, he's into that whole AI stuff with the Tesla. Nobody's
I'm sure he
driving
is. Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Okay.
But he's gonna explain the dangers of hyper. I don't know what hyper intelligent AI is. That means extremely intelligent. Here we go.
All of a sudden, AI is everywhere. People who weren't quite sure what it was are playing with it on their phones. Is that good or bad?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about AI for a long time, since I was in college, really. It was one of the things that, the sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the smartest creatures, as far as you know, on this earth are humans, is our defining characteristic.
Yes.
We're obviously weaker than, say, chimpanzees, and less agile, but we are smarter. So now what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. It's called the singularity. It's, it's a singularity like a black hole, because you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict. So I think we should be cautious with
Hey, Mark, is he
AI,
English or what?
and we should...
He's South African.
South African. I got a question for you. He's mentioning, obviously, the smartest being in the world are humans.
Yeah, which is us.
Now, he's saying that there's going to be something smarter than humans. So the first thing that...
There is already something
Correct,
smarter.
but that's what he's saying, right? That's going to be smarter, the AI, right? My question is this. Why?
Why? Because I'll tell you why. Number one, life has to evolve. Eric, let me ask you a question. They could have stopped at, Windows 95. Remember when we used to have those big ass computer with the monitors that were massive? They could have stopped there, but we went to Windows 98. Then we went to this, we went to that. Then the cell phone came out. We could have stopped with the cell phone, the flip ones, but no. They invented the smartphone. The smartphone is essentially a laptop that's in your hands. It's a computer.
Right.
We could have stopped there, but no, now even the smartphones now have AI. Like, for example, if you buy the Google phone, which is called the Pixel has the smartest chip that any phone has. So what I'm saying is, Eric, man, we're not going to stop here. Life is going to evolve, and people are always going to push the envelope and come up with something bigger.
And I understand, but when is enough enough?
That it'll never be. You know when? When this place disappears.
Because one thing I was discussing, Mark, I was discussing with somebody else recently. It's like the more technology evolves, the dumber the human being gets.
But that's the point. Wait a minute, that's where I'm getting. For example, you've never used ChatGPT, have you?
I don't even know what that is. That's how
exactly,
dumb I am.
because you're not in that world.
Yeah,
okay, Eric, literally, that's the first AI that was available to everybody. ChatGPT is an AI that is available online. You could even get it on your phone. You can ask ChatGPT to do anything for you. For example, you want ChatGPT to redo your resume, to write you an email, to do whatever. It'll do it for you.
That is crazy.
It can translate anything for you. The thing is, AI is always going to be a million. I don't know. There's no number smarter than us. That's what this guy's talking about.
There's no way this is good.
Well,
and
there's
my thing
good
is
to
why.
it.
No, there is good to it. I understand. But if it's making us dumber, there's no good to it.
You know who it'll make dumber? People that rely on it 100%. People that rely, that say, you know what? I'm no longer going to use my brain. For example, I'm one of these people that I use the calculator for everything. I no longer want to do math like I used to.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So remember the days where calculators calculators always exist, but when it wasn't even allowed in schools.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you and I, we went to French schools, very advanced mathematically or what academically as well. So how can it be good is the question.
So I think there should be some government oversight because it affects it's a danger to the public. And so when you have things that are a danger to the public, like let's say, so food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC. We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where there could be public harm, and you don't want companies cutting corners on safety, and then having people suffer as a result. So. That's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation. So that I think regulation is, it's not fun to be regulated. It's somewhat arduous to be regulated. I have a lot of experience with regulated industries because obviously automotive is highly regulated. You could fill this room with all the regulations that are required for a production car just in the United States, and then there's a whole different set of regulations in Europe and China and the rest of the world. So very familiar with being overseen by a lot of regulators. And the same thing is true with rockets. You can't just willy-nilly shoot rockets off, not big ones anyway. Because the FAA oversees that. And then even to get a launch license, there are probably half a dozen or more federal agencies that need to approve it, plus state agencies. So I've been through so many regulatory situations, it's insane. And sometimes people think I'm some sort of like regulatory maverick that sort of defies regulators on a regular basis, but this is actually not the case.
With a perceived danger, planes fall out of the sky or food causes botulism.
Yes.
I don't think the average person playing with AI on his iPhone perceives any danger. Can you just roughly explain what you think the dangers might be?
Yeah, I would have asked that question.
So the danger, really, AI is perhaps more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft design or production maintenance or bad car production. In the sense that it has the potential, however small one may regard that probability, but it is non-trivial. It has the potential of civilizational destruction. There's movies like Terminator, but it wouldn't quite happen like Terminator because the intelligence would be in the data centers.
Right.
The robot is the end effector. But I think perhaps what you may be alluding to here is that regulations are really only put into effect after something terrible has happened.
That's correct.
If that's the case
After
for AI,
something
and
terrible
we only put
has
regulations after something terrible has happened,
You understand what I'm trying to say? It's like
actually put the regulations in place. The AI may be in control.
it doesn't smell right, Mark.
You think that's real? It is conceivable that AI could take control and reach a point where you couldn't turn it off, and it would be making the decisions for people.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely where things are headed, for sure.
That's where things are headed.
I mean, the things like say ChatGPT, which is based on GPT-4 from OpenAI.
So Mark, you
You
spoke
see,
about that. So
it's what I just told you.
how can you sit there with a straight face, Mark? And I respect the dude. He's an innovator. He's done a lot of great things.
He's a genius. He's a
genius, right? He's a genius. But how can you sit there with a straight face and say it's the end of humanity eventually, and you're part of that, the invention, right?
Eric. He's not the only one inventing AI, bro.
Yes, but he's part of it, right?
Well, he's.
I don't know. I might be ignorant. I'm just what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking of it. You know what I'm saying?
What he's talking about, he wants to regulate AI. If you don't regulate AI, anybody could just fuck with it, and then that's how you're gonna get into the mess he's talking about. Look, a guy like this, Eric, he didn't become who he is by scratching his ass.
I understand.
The things like say ChatGPT, which is based on GPT-4 from OpenAI, which is a company that I played a critical role in creating, unfortunately.
Back when it
Oh,
was a
I didn't know
nonprofit.
that. You see?
Yes. I mean, the reason OpenAI exists at all is that Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would
Yes.
stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety. And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be one sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
Wow.
He wanted that?
Yes.
Wow.
He's made many public statements over the years. That the whole goal.
So
of
you
Google
see,
is,
Eric, that guy is
what's called
dangerous.
AGI,
Right,
The
right,
guy
right.
he was talking
Intelligence or
about.
Artificial superintelligence. You know, and I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad. And so
There you
if-
go.
if
There's
you've
your
got
question,
some,
Eric. There's your question.
Radical new technology, you want to try to take the set of actions that maximize the probability it will do good and minimize the probability it will do bad things.
Yes.
It can't just be hell for leather. Let's just go, barreling forward and, hope for the best. And then at one point, I said, well, what about, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here. And then he called me a speciesist.
Did he use that term?
Crazy, bro.
And there were
That
witnesses.
guy is
I
a
wasn't the only one there
nutcase
when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay, you got me. What are you? That was the last straw. At the time, Google had acquired DeepMind, and so Google and DeepMind together had about 3/4 of all the AI talent in the world. They obviously had a tremendous amount of money and more computers than anyone else.
You see what I was telling you about Google?
We have a unipolar world here, where there's just one company that has close to a monopoly on AI talent and computers, like scaled computing. And the person who's in charge doesn't seem to care about safety. This is not good. So then I thought,
That is
what's
crazy, man.
The furthest thing from Google would be like a nonprofit that is fully open, because Google was closed for profit. So that's why the open in OpenAI refers to open source, transparency, so people know what's going on.
Yes.
And that we don't want to have like while I'm normally in favor of for profit, we don't want this to be sort of a profit maximizing demon from hell.
That's right.
That just never stops.
Right.
So that's how OpenAI would.
So you want speciesist incentives here? Incentives that
Yes,
like,
I think we
protect
want
humanity.
pro-human.
It's a long ass interview, but
Yeah.
you kind of got the idea. You know what I realized, dude? I was telling a friend that the other day. When we used to watch movies, we knew they were movies. We would go watch The Terminator. We knew, okay, this is not gonna happen.
Right.
We would go watch any movie based in the future. Like when we watch Total Recall. When we watch movies like that where they're putting implants in people's heads and controlling like shit, we used to be like, this is so far away.
Right.
Guess what? We're here
Right.
now.
Basically, what you're saying is that if 20 years ago somebody came up to you and said that 20 years later we would have AIs and things like that, you would say it would have
Yeah,
never
because
happened.
your brain cannot comprehend
Right.
20, 30 years from now. Well, you can, but you
Right.
could say, oh, it's not like, for example, I saw a
That
clip
there's
where
no
he's
way. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I saw a clip where he said that 50 years from now, he gave a number, an absurd number, like most cars are going to be self-driving 50 years from
Yeah.
now.
Right.
Most.
I mean, but there's already self-driving cars. You know
yeah,
what I'm
but
saying? So
most.
Right. At a certain point, that's where it's going. I mean, I don't know, man. I know that there's good and bad. I mean, I'm basically based on what he's saying, there's going to be good, but there's also going to be bad. But I don't see the good. Me personally, I don't see the good.
You cannot deny that the smartphone has advanced society.
Of course it has.
But
of course
it has also made people go backwards in the sense of we're not using our brains. Like every day you're on this cell phone, all you're doing is getting dopamine hits after dopamine hits.
The way I see it, man, is this type of technology and whatever else is out there that's helping us advance technology-wise, right? Everything's so fast-paced, everything's computerized, everything's cell phones and stuff like that, and what have you. for me, it's yes, you're taking you're taking a step forward in technology, but you're also taking 2 steps backwards in humanity. When did the first smartphone come out? You know what I'm trying to say? Like
in the 2000s.
I remember those little phones that people used to use. We didn't need to have a smartphone. I understand, yeah, it makes, but we would have done fine with just AOL or whatever it is that people had, those big computers. We did well with that. Now you might say, oh yeah, you know what? No, it's not true. Now, blah, blah, blah. But if we had continued living that way, I'm sure we would have been perfectly fine.
Right.
That's just my opinion. I might be ignorant, but that's my opinion.
I'm all for advancing technology, but at what cost?
At the cost exactly.
I feel like look, at the end of the day, nothing is perfect. Nothing is gonna come out and be like 100% beneficial. It's probably gonna be some negative to it.
Right.
Like cars, for example. Could you imagine if we were still using horses?
Right.
Cars are one of the best things ever invented. But guess what?
Right.
More people die from car crashes than anything in the world.
Of course.
So everything has a balance, but this AI bullshit is a different story.
Yeah.
We're talking something that becomes, Eric, before AI, we have never had, that's what Elon was saying. Before AI, we've never had anything smarter than us.
Right. Correct. No, 100%.
Unless like we go back to when Dad says back in the 70s in Roswell, they got a couple aliens with some big ass heads.
Right. That ended up crashing. Yeah. Dad told us that. Yeah.
Unless that was a true story.
Right.
So these fuckers might be smarter than us.
I think there's a lot we don't know more.
But it's scary, man. This AI shit scares me, bro. It really does.
Yeah, it does. It's scary. We don't know what else is out there. I think we're only brushing the surface, and I think we'll keep it at the surface.
We'll keep it at that.
When you start digging in, you get lost into the abyss. So yeah. Well,
thanks for watching, guys. Let us know your thoughts, your opinion on this.
I guess we gotta be open
situation.
to being ready to marry a robot. Eventually.
Bro, let's not even go there. Don't forget to subscribe, share, thumbs up, share with everybody you know. Also, Cash App link in the description. We appreciate all your donations. For you guys that have donated already to keep this channel alive, we love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace.